Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and, well, I can't say I don't know what else. And today is the 11th, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. I understand that Donald Trump has decided that he's going to dominate the world news as long as he possibly can, keep himself in the middle of the face. Yeah, this is going to be, this is interesting. You know, first of all, so Zelensky is now in the process of reselling what has already been sold at least several times in Ukrainian mineral assets and so on. Believe me, it's all been sold. Most of it's owned by Europeans, so they get a big stab in the back because they were all counting on their green economy is going to go off to lithium mines and such. Well, that all happen to be Russian territory now. So Ukrainians need to keep dying for their lithium mines. And then Trump comes along and slaps his strumpets on the back of the head and says, "No, I'm the pimp, and I'm taking it." And Zelensky and the whole Ukrainian dialogue has suddenly gone 180 degrees off of, not 360 like bareback, but 180. Off of democracy, Western values, and all the other platitudes for small children and ignorant foreigners. But real Western values. Let's see what we can pillage from the local Aborigines. And they're going at it. Of course, Trump lowballed, offered $500 million at first. He's demanding basically $500 billion worth of minerals, because, you know, the USA, it's horrible. This war is going. We need to stop this war. It's all horrible, but give us something back for the money that we've given you, and we're going to give you more money and tanks, but you've got to now give us real stuff, because the war is horrible. Yeah, and when Trump goes, it's horrible, young men are dying. Well, the really young men weren't really dying in very large numbers in Ukraine until Trump came along. Because, as Waltz demanded 3 weeks ago to try to stabilize the front before the first Trump-Putin meeting, the Ukrainians have now started shipping as many 18, 19-year-olds as they can grab their hands on. And believe me, there's 17 and 16-year-olds going too. And of course, since they have, about 85 days to stabilize that front, and of course that's not going to happen, they're not giving them any training, or the very, very minimum of, this is a rifle, and that's your gun. This is for work, and this is for fun. And by the way, that's the end that the bullet comes out of. Okay, you're good to go. Good for one wave of meat, or to try to hold a position for a day or so. And that's how they're going to be plugging these holes. Just mass extermination of the youth. Suicide by Russian tank. Or fob, or what have you. But this is how, you know, the White House is belly aching about, oh, young men are dying. By making sure that a hell of a lot more young men are going to die. Children in this case. So, of course, nothing's going to happen out of these negotiations, no matter what Trump's talking about, flabbergasting that, oh, yes, we made a lot of progress. Yes, there are certain conditions. Russians will even take European peacekeepers. And the Russian side is going, no, we never agreed to anything. They're not really wanting to admit there's even been a telephone call. And we're not accepting anything. The Western plan is dead on arrival. But for some reason or other, the Western media that's picking up what Trump and his people are saying are setting up a certain level of expectations that's not going to be met under any conditions. Maybe they're doing that specifically so that once the negotiations fall through, and they will, they can go, oh, see, well, you know, you can't negotiate with the Russians. So we'll just crank up everything. Of course, the Europeans are going to get to pay for it without any hope for getting any of those resources, because the U.S. is going to scoop up the resources of whatever's left of Ukraine, and the Europeans are just going to get the check. But that's not anything new. the sociopaths that run Europe for the U.S., they don't care about the Europeans. I mean, any Europeans that still think that they're sociopathic leaders outside of countries like Hungary and Slovakia that actually have national leaders, outside of those countries, any European living in any other part of Europe who still actually believes that their government gives a damn about them, man, I have got bridges to sell you in the middle of the Nevada desert. Huge bridges. All you got to do is move them over from New York, like the Brooklyn Bridge. I'll sell it to you for cheap. Send it to Stas. I'm a European idiot, and I'm going to give you $10 million because I believe in my leaders. Just title as that. Or hell, you don't have to give me $10 million. You can give me $1,000. I'll sell that bridge. I'll do Ukrainian style and just resell it 15, 20 times. No problems. And by the way, if you listen to the way Zelensky talks, he isn't talking about Ukraine's natural asset. It's ours, as in his. Ukraine to him and his group is his. And by the way, it's funny too. Zelensky did this interview for Ukrainian media, of course. You're not going to see this in the U.S. press, where he says, you know, that people don't want elections. They understand it's war and they don't want elections. 80% of people don't want elections. Really. Never mind, all the polls show the other way around, quite the other way around. And Zelensky knows if he ever loses power, or the moment the war ends, he's a dead man. Not in a political and even financial sense. He's a dead man there too. I mean, he's literally a dead man. He's today's corpse, still walking around. He just hasn't, and he knows that, and he absolutely knows that. Netanyahu may be a political dead man, but Zelensky will be a physical dead man. And he very, very well understands that. So to him, he will keep this war going to the last Ukrainian child. And by the way, he is asking for American troops on the front line. He flat out said that. So Americans, are you ready to go die for Zelensky? And so that U.S. oligarchs can get, $500 billion, maybe $1 trillion worth of raw materials. I mean, it's your job to die for these people. No, it is. This is how you put America first. That's what you were promised. This is how you put America first. Well, you put American oligarchs first, especially when they get their Middle East Riviera. Yeah, that's another one. Oh, that's a great one. So we're going to move the Palestinians to better and brighter places. One of them, by the way, is going to be Ireland. So it seems anyways, unless the Irish grow a backbone. And if you need to put down some whiskey to grow a backbone, I'd suggest putting down quite a bit of whiskey in that case, if that's what you need for a backbone. But you better damn well grow a backbone. Because Ireland isn't Irish. It's already not becoming Irish. Ain't much of a population, Ireland. And you take in about 1 million Palestinians, there ain't going to be much of a population of Irish left after that. Think about it. But the Irish political leadership, the sellouts, they're flat out, oh, we're all Palestinians now. Oh, really? Well, if you're all Palestinians now, any day now, Trump's going to come over and kick the Irish and whoever else is living there right out of Ireland and make a new Riviera of the Atlantic. And why not? I mean, you're all Palestinians now, right? That's what you're saying. Think about it. But yeah, so nobody's asked the Palestinian people, gee, do you want to be evicted from your land? And the fact that they just won't leave their land, even though the Israelis have really, really tried to persuade them by massacring and murdering 200,000 people plus. And that's by Lancet's standards. That's the #1 medical journal. And they were doing a medical journal in Europe. And that's a guesstimate, because nobody knows how many people are under that rubble. Nobody knows how many people are under that rubble. Because when the Israelis want to kill one guy, they'll take out 1,000 civilians. Because, well, God forbid one Israeli dies, that's a genocide. Oh, that's a genocide against the Israeli population. But they'll go murder off 200,000 people without thinking twice about it. And they'll drop bombs everywhere else around their neighbors. You know, if Sisi breaks and takes those Palestinians in, he's out of power. And then the Israelis are going to have a much bigger problem because they'll have a more radicalized government in Egypt and probably in Jordan. But, okay, so let's look at this image. All you who want to join the U.S. Marines, you're going to have a great new job. Exiling people, the new Indians, new American Indians, out of their land. Oh, by the way, yeah, I love that when Trump announced that this asinine idea. Schumer gives the news. Pushing people off their land and taking their land is not the American way. Dude, did you get even a D in history? Or did you have the fairy rainbow version of American history? Because guess what? Somebody was living on all the land that America now occupies. Those Indians didn't just go, oh, let's all leave for fairyland on our fairy dust rides and leave it to the new colonists. And the few that decided, no, we're not going to go. We're just going to set ourselves down on reservations and, massacre ourselves and genocide ourselves. I mean, seriously, dude. The American people might not know freaking history at all because you've dumbed down the education. You teach them myths and fairy tales, if even that. You have the Hollywood version of history, which has nothing realistic in it, based on reality. 1% reality, 99% bullshit. But the rest, most of the rest of the world really does know history. So when the American leaders say stupid crap like that, so future Marine recruit, you will get to go house to house, tent to tent, ruin to ruin, and at gunpoint, maybe with a bayonet, maybe with a bloody bayonet at that point, push the local inhabitants onto ships and planes and trucks to leave them out of their land. So that rich Israeli billionaires and the billionaires in the U.S. can have real new real estate. And by the way, the Hamas, the 30,000 or so Hamas, they're going to refuse to leave. You're going to get to be a tunnel rat. That's right. You're going to get to fight tunnel to tunnel. The Israelis aren't going to do it. Their American idiot slaves are going to come and do it for them. Because the Israelis got their butts kicked in IDF. Tzchal's in Russian. Didn't do too well in Gaza. So in comes the American Marines. Are they going to be doing the fighting now? Tunnel to tunnel, clearing them out. That's putting America first. But then, once the real estate's built, how do you keep peace there? There are already American companies. Believe it or not, go look this up. You don't want to believe me, go look it up. There are American private contracting companies, military companies, that are controlling the exit and entry points into Gaza. Not Israelis, it's Americans. Go figure on that one. So America's going to be, it's going to be the new Imperial expansionism. I'm not sure on what money Trump is planning on doing, because nobody exactly canceled the sovereign debt crisis that the U.S. is in. American debt is, what now, $38 trillion? And just think about it, somewhere between 7 to 11 trillion of that. So about a fourth of that national debt is Iraq and Afghanistan. Oh, who helped the U.S. get into Iraq? Oh, yeah, that's right. That was Netanyahu. He wasn't in a political office at that point, but he was doing expert testimony to Congress. Go look it up. Any day now, Iraq's going to have nuclear weapons. You got to go in there. Yep, that's right. America's the bitch boy. It gets to, but believe me, it's the American people that are the bitch boys. The corporations that earn kickbacks, massive looting of the U.S. economy and everything else, and the resources in Iraq, too. It went to Halliburton, it went to Kellogg Brown & Root, it went to a lot of different companies. Oh, they made huge money off of all of this. Ludicrous money. I mean, just to understand, these companies that were, because the U.S. military can do it, but they weren't there, so they hired contractors to filter water. And they were selling that water back to the U.S. military at $400 a gallon. Now, you got to figure every soldier's just drinking water is going to be somewhere between half a gallon plus. You're in a desert situation. Now multiply that by 150,000 per day. And that's not counting civilian contractors that the U.S. military is also paying for. Yeah, talk about a profit margin. So yeah, there you go. That's how you get screwed. That's how you get up to $11 trillion on 2 failed projects. Okay, time to go for Gaza. Or maybe Panama. You know, okay, so Trump's going in every direction. So he strong-armed Panama, but Panama is a small nation. Now they got rid of the Chinese. They're getting rid of the Chinese management companies. Or by the way, also repairing the Panama Canal because the U.S. companies refuse to do it. So how long before the Panama Canal starts breaking down? U.S. aircraft carriers can't go across it anyways. The smallest U.S. aircraft carrier is 8 meters too wide. Super tankers can't go through it either. It's old. You need to invest a lot of money to widen that up and widen those gates up. And nobody's going to do that. U.S. sure cell doesn't have that money to do it. But with the Chinese not running, who's going to do? By the way, and then he strong-armed Panama not to charge to allow American ships to go free of charge. So Panama is going to run out of money to maintain that Panama Canal. So in the medium term, the Panama Canal is probably going to start breaking down from lack of cash. Okay. Trump went after Canada. Canada backed off. Well, they both backed off because Canada was returning the tariffs right on American goods, manufactured goods. And that was going to hit Americans. That was going to hit farmers. It was going to hit brewers and other sectors of the economy. Now Trump's going after the north-south trade route, which is Russia via Caspian to Iran, via Iran to India. And the Indians are still trying to placate him somehow. Well, we'll take some of your way overpriced LNG. As opposed, and the rest will just keep buying as it is. Well, Trump's going after, is already been threatening all of BRICS, which is a bigger economic bloc than America and its vassals. Especially considering almost every economy in the America and its vassals is actually collapsing or in retraction. So they're going after, they're going to go after 3 major BRICS countries. And there's only, India, the American view for India is the meat waves to fight China. And the thing is Modi quite well realizes that. So he's still trying to play off with the Americans, but he's not going to sacrifice India for American goals. Knowing quite well that if India ever gets really going and surpasses, say, China, America is going to do everything to torpedo and destroy India it can. And he knows that. Today America is going to be the pawn of India, and tomorrow it's going to be the victim. India is going to be the pawn of America, and tomorrow it's going to be the victim of America. As Kissinger said, being America's enemies is dangerous. Being America's allies is deadly. So, Modi, when it becomes obvious, it's either India or the American way. And India, crush the Indian economy. You'll start paying 3, 4, 5 times more for your oil and all the other stuff and all your energy assets and anything you import out of Russia. And they import a lot. Machinery, other things. You do what we say and you go back to being, stop advancing and trying to lift your country up, and you'll be our friends, or you tell us to go fuck ourselves. Guess which one India is going to do? So now you're attacking 3 major BRICS countries at once. Yeah, if nothing else, there's that much more reason to de-dollarize that faster. And as more and more de-dollarization happens, which means less dollars are needed, those dollars keep flooding back into America. Right when Trump's starting to do push toward quantitative easing again, printing money, or electronically printing money. So that's, ladies and gentlemen, hyperinflation. You think your eggs are expensive now? Just wait a little while longer. It's all coming back. So while Trump is screaming here and there and jumping up around, pointing at every country and renaming them or trying to take parts of them away, the U.S. economy, yeah, it got a bit of a hoopah from the elections, but nobody changed the fundamentals. Fundamentals are still the same. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on those fundamentals. Tariffs aren't going to help. No, that's going to be the end. Consumer is going to be sucking those tariffs down. Enjoy the mass price rises and the lowering standard of living, because industry is not coming back. There's a lot of work that has to be done for industry to really come back. Look at that American program to move the chip manufacturers to the U.S. Failed completely. Spent billions on that. So, yeah, a lot of work to be done. Grabbing other people's countries, especially when no Americans are threatened. So now we've got Greenland. But what do we got on American radar right now? Denmark via Greenland. Panama Canal. Panama via Panama Canal. They're still egging with Canada. Who knows? U.S. assets are spy assets are all around Mexican California, the Mexican coast. Because if when the U.S. starts its war with the cartels, the U.S. is going to have to go into Mexico, which is not going to make Mexico very happy. And that's going to be one big quagmire to begin with. So that's right off the bat pretty extensive. But then we still have Ukraine, we still have Taiwan, and we've added Gaza. Never mind, there's still pressure or drive to war with Iran. Well, all you feminists, even if you got a fat arse, it'll still fit into a uniform. Because without a draft, the U.S. Army ain't going to handle this one. Nothing even close to it. Oh well, such is life. We'll keep going, and it's definitely interesting to report on. Cheers.